The Titanic music is still in my head. OceanGate swept the nation and our lives. Today, we will look at exactly why that is, aside from the obvious of why it had such an effect. Welcome to Soul Spy University, where your souls can run free and your minds are free to expand. Today, we'll be covering and showing you how it's changed my world, how Tommy has had to deal with it, and a look at everyone's fascination, as well as deep intuitive messages at the end that came to me during that can further explain the phenomenon. But please don't forget to support my content to you by joining the family by subscribing. I'd love to have you here. Liking, so I know someone's listening, and sharing is phenomenal and integral to the survival of my channel. And if anyone's interested in further supporting my content, there is a donation gratitude link in the description box that if it ever gets used, my heart is eternally grateful. Okay, we're diving right in. As Tommy knows, I was highly affected.
Yes.
Very wrapped up to the point where shortly after he'd leave for, sometimes he goes and runs errands at night or whatever he does. And, some of you already know we shack up together now due to extenuating circumstances, which actually gave birth to a whole other channel to come. So stay tuned. However, when he left to do his errands at night, during this whole thing, I'd just be so intertwined with it. And a couple minutes after he left, it's like the Titanic music would start playing. And I'd look out the window and wonder, if it's coming back okay. Luckily, he'd fixed that by coming back and telling me his brutal opinion on what he thought was going on during it. I just thought it would be so great if humanity it was like each and every one of them came out of them what they didn't know they had, and they were really there for each other, and because I know that sounds crazy, but I know that and Tommy knows this as well, during extenuating circumstances, I didn't know until such circumstances would happen that I would literally like save the other person before myself, or make sure there's enough for everybody else. Like during really extenuating, times, which I didn't expect, because you just never know what comes out of you during those times. So during those times, I was like, wow, it's amazing. So these are, I think there were 5 amazing men on this submersible, and that's what I really was hoping for. That I was rooting for them to have a profound experience where an angel came down, they all saw, and they would pull through, and there'd be books written, and they're writing books and interviews, and I really thought this is going to be amazing for all of society. But like I said, Tommy would come home and say, "This is what I would do," and I thought, it just, my popcorn wouldn't make it to my mouth at that point. So he helped me deal with my Titanic PTSD every time he left the house. And, through many car rides, I'd say, you know what, you should be grateful for me, because, you never know if I could end up in a submersible. And he still doesn't care if I end up in a submersible, but that's his story. Let's see. Oh, yes. My surroundings literally started to look like, and Tommy knows this as well, I never noticed. I've been living in this building for over a year. I'm sorry, guys. You got to weigh in. Is this hallway Titanic looking to you? Also, this is a picture of the ceiling breaking in one of the hallways. I thought, oh my God, it's breaking into me like a submersible. Then I never noticed, I'm in the elevator. Look at that window. I've never seen such a submarine window in my life. I remember I just was in there and I was like, oh. As I'm trying to recover from that, I come out into the lobby, where I've never seen such Titanic furniture in my life. I mean, everything looked like it was from the Titanic wreckage. The Titanic song played the entire time of this entire thing and is still in my head. Look at that. That's the most Titanic chair I've ever seen in my life. Keep in mind, I've been living here for a year. I never noticed. Titanic chair again. And then you walk out the door and there's sea life.
All right, let's not put the address down.
I've never seen such sea life in my life. Everything pointing upward like that. Oh my God, such sea life. I mean, really, is Squidward showing up? I mean, I'm not nuts. Okay. Really, really.
It's just plants.
Look at this.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let's put every freaking information on the internet, please. Let's
Okay.
go ahead and put that away.
I'm just saying, I was surrounded. And then, the guy originally wanted to be an astronaut. So, oh my God, the sea life.
All right. Well,
On top of this, okay, I went through an ordeal last week with my car where it happens to be white, very small and sporty, kind of like the package I saw at the end of the hallway during this, which I thought, oh, also looked like a submersible. And through God's grace, I made it to the dealership where it never got started again. And I'm in my car, not, didn't expect it to break down, white little car. And I'm like, my phone battery is dying and I have to reach out for a ride. This is so unexpected. My battery's dying. I'm stuck in this little car until I get a ride. I was really going through, like, by the time I got into the dealership with a ride, I was like, I'm rescued. I felt like I was in a submersible. Somehow I had a sunburn. I was only out there for 10 minutes. It's all very confusing. But yeah, I think that we all were affected differently from this. As a disclaimer, I think every soul matters extremely greatly, whether you have a penny or not, whether you have a million pennies or not, right? What came up for me was I happened to live with an aunt for a year and a half that happened to be maybe had a few pennies, if you know what I mean, had a ballroom in her house. And So if you know what I mean, she had a lot of pennies, And yeah, it was a nightmare living there for a year and a half. Not only did I get hit by a car and suffered a brain injury, but she then wanted me to go on every ride at the amusement park, even though I wasn't supposed to. I actually got kicked out for not. And also during that year and a half, all the things she wanted to do were terrifying. It was like, we can't just go to Hawaii. We have to go to Hawaii, go up mountains, okay, where you could fall off of them from a golf cart. And if I showed any sign of shred of fear on my face, I was considered a victim. I'm just saying, I noticed, and I have friends with a lot of pennies, and I don't notice such a thing, but I noticed in that living experience that my aunt with a lot of pennies happened to, they, I'm just saying, if I ever had a lot of pennies, I wouldn't be like, I would enjoy saving them. I would enjoy investing in them. I would enjoy going to Disney World, which I've never gotten to do. Maybe Starbucks. Like that would be my heaven. Just being able to do these things, maybe Italy, but I'm not like trying, like every person in my family that say has a lot of pennies, that not only just doesn't, like, isn't very loving, but they will literally try to do the most, gee, how can I make life so uncomfortable right now way. So I had to deal with things like that, because although I was so rooting for their lives and so concerned with it, I was like, why did they have to go down in this little thing, that looks like it's taped together, and what do I know? But yeah, I had to battle those thoughts because I felt really guilty about them. Yeah, I do have intuitive messages about all this, about why we were so affected, aside from the obvious at the end. But let's have Tommy weigh in. How are you, Jack?
Well, yeah, no, like everybody else, I was a little like, I wasn't super into the story because I was like, oh, that'll be fine, or otherwise. Uh, Unfortunately, I was wrong. But yeah, the thing is, the guy was a billionaire. So like, you're thinking like somebody that would want millions. Billions is like another level that we can't even imagine, where he's done everything. He's like, or he had, you know. So this is something he wanted to do. I feel bad for the son who really didn't want to go, but
Yeah, that's what I think. He reminded me a lot of me in a way, and that's why I was
yeah,
so, yeah.
it's unfortunate that like even as a billionaire, this is the this was the best option to go and see this thing. Because it's like, if you have that much money, couldn't you buy like a true submarine and do this?
Well, supposedly this one is the one that would go as deep. And was it the best option? Maybe it was Tuesday's option, but I see what you're saying. The best option to go see the Titanic.
Yeah, man, this is like there had to be other things out there. I mean, they could have reached out to James Cameron and got him to take them down one by one or two
I
by
think
two.
he does. I think he only does it for himself. I think
His
one person
his
one.
carries three.
Oh,
So, like, I'm talking about the actual billionaire and his son, plus James Cameron. Three people. The reason that this thing was like an issue is that it was bigger than the norm when it comes to going that deep. Like like most are like much more compact to, help with the pressure. I feel terrible for these people. I feel terrible for their families. Uh,
yeah,
but it's a story because everybody was so attached to the story because it was like a cliffhanger. It was drama. It was like, oh my time, and there was a clock. So there was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So like, I don't know. I would never do this. I would never. I am not really afraid of much, but this freaked me out in a way I did not imagine.
yeah. I can't. I just can't believe you couldn't pay me to go on that. You know.
No way.
And there was another father and son that were supposed to go in their place and backed out last minute.
Good. Thank God for that.
Hmm. Isn't that crazy? Um, so yeah, you know, I think we were all rooting for them. And uh on an intuitive level, I mean, we're all one. So it's like we're all sort of in the higher realms in spiritual theory is that we're all experiencing everything everybody's experiencing. So I think that that's one of the reasons we were so invested. Um, Aside from the obvious that this is extremely unique situation, like Tommy said, a cliffhanger, everything was up for question, just like the Gabby Petito case. Um, and yeah, it's also like on a very deep level, there's a theory in the spiritual community that we sign up for these lives and that every experience we each signed up for is to better us and that we wanted those experiences. So we're like almost like rooting for them maybe because it's like, wow, you guys signed up for that unique experience. Like, wow, like thank God you're doing that like for the rest of us or something like that. So on a deep level, there's that going on. And we wanted whatever needed to be learned there that they signed up for to be learned. So none of us have to sign up for it next life, maybe. Um, However, now given the way it ended, it's interesting because it's like that lesson was for all of us because they, thank God, their transition to the non physical was quick and rapid. So they literally just blinked and they were there. Whereas the rest of us were the ones that are dealing with the aftermath, like most deaths, quote unquote deaths that happen on our planet. So usually the person that passes, they're in the better dimension, and it's the rest of us humans with our limited senses dealing with the aftermath of the illusion of loss. So it is my hope that these families come to know that there are no goodbyes and that this is just beginning of a new era of their loved ones still being with them in a whole new way. Do you have any more to say on this, Tom?
I mean, not really. It's just it was a tragedy. Uh, the nonsense, the stuff coming out afterwards. I feel bad for the family, but the stepson, that kid's a fool.
We can't judge that.
Oh my God, that kid.
But
Like Blink 182 because it makes him feel good. It's like, come on.
during, no less, when the rest of us were tied to our screens.
And then he's talking to girls on OnlyFans. It's like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, you know what? I can't judge his experience, but what's interesting is what I did notice is that I'd be on live reports for like hours about this. And it's interesting, no matter who's reporting, and my favorite is WFLA hashtag KGB. But no matter who's reporting, they could have the most heart and soul about it, and yet they'd be like, "This is horrible. This is horrible," and then they'd be like, "What do you think it's like for them in there?" And they'll get in such detail, like such detail. So even though they all had such heart and soul regarding this, while it was a cliffhanger, they all had this. I think it was a natural human curiosity
Oh
of
yeah, of course.
what are they going through, right? And even my cousin and I got in a bandwagon. She started a group text about it with me, her, and her mom, and we within 5 minutes we were down the rabbit hole because we were already so invested in this. We didn't even call each other the night before because we were so invested. Um, and she's like, I mean, they gotta, in a more sensitive way, what she said in not these words, or it's, they had to have made this transition by now, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's only been 3 days. And she's like, yeah, but water. And I'm like, I mean, can't you drink urine? Right. And then her mom finally responds in the group text a day later, like, I heard time is of the essence. And we're like, we're past that. We're on to drinking urine, lady. Like we're on to like hoping no one's eating like their family member in there. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think everyone's guesses really ranged wide range here. And at the end, I was so freaked out about it that I was like, what do I want from this? Right. And I wanted them so bad to the best of humanity came out of them, the best of their spirituality, the best of their souls. They pull through, and maybe they even have a not an NDE, but a spiritually transformative experience in there that they could tell us about. And I remember like even trying to like, because we're all one, telepathically communicate to them like, we're looking for you. And the next day they were like these little tings and bings and bangs. And I was like, yes, and but you know what? It's some say it's better because it was instant.
Of course. That is so much better. Instant is the best way to go. Just like people say, going in your sleep.
Yeah. And
So
they have went in their sleep because I think you pointed out and other reporters, uh I mean, you said something about sleep, and other reporters were basically saying they could take something to sleep for sleep to oh,
yeah, but
they
that's
didn't have time for that. They didn't have time for
no.
that.
It happened like the day of. Everybody was assuming that this was like going on every single day. But no,
Yeah,
it happened literally as they were going to see the Titanic. They didn't even get
yeah,
to see the Titanic, which is
I
sad.
know. That was like your biggest thing about this. And I'm like, so I get it. I get wanting to see history. I don't think I would have gotten it when I was younger, but I get it now. But I don't know if I'd go to that not that length. No.
Listen, people who have tons of money, the thing is perfectly documented on YouTube or wherever you want to look. Disney Plus has it probably because James Cameron did it. You don't need to do this. It's just a rotting piece of metal at this point. You know the story, watch the movie. Be safe. Forget about that thing. Let it just be.
It's I don't think it's usable anymore, Tommy.
Oh no, yeah, no, nobody's that's not coming back up anytime soon. Oops.
Well, it did, just through being resurrected in pieces.
Are they?
Oh yeah, debris came up, but
No, I mean
I don't think
I
it
mean
exploded.
I'm talking
Huh?
about the Titanic.
Oh, yes, mistaken. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I
So
picked Jack before, because it just totally colored my world. You guys got to weigh in. Does my place look like the Titanic, or is it just the influence of it?
I think that your mind has been so engulfed in the story at the time that you were just looking around and just like connecting, even though there was no need to connect because we're in upstate New York and we're not in the lake. We're not in
I
the,
really wasn't. Well, first of all, I'm an empath, like most of us, and we're all one. But I really wasn't looking for it. It was literally shoved in my face, and all of a sudden, I lived in the damn Titanic. I swear, I wasn't looking for it. It just, I
I
mean, really,
know, I know.
I wouldn't even get in the elevators the next week. There were problems with the elevators. I was like, again with these submersibles, and I went 5 floors up and down a million times a day. Walk muffin.
But yeah, I really truly believe that like it was everybody's fear and anxiety that made them keep watching and like so engulfed in this story. It was also, wanting hope because these days things are rough in the world. And a little bit of hope would have gone a long way. Unfortunately, we didn't get what we wanted, and these poor folks, passed. Uh, but thoughts and prayers to their family. I feel terrible for them. Um, they're in a better place, as everybody says, and I believe that this at least one good thing out of this is that people will look and see and they're like, I think we're done with submarines for a while. I think we're done with the Titanic. We're done with the Titanic. We know the story. We know what's going on down there. It's pretty dark. What are we going to do down there anyway? We're done with the Titanic.
I
So,
wish, I wish the my brain was done with the Titanic because this song will not leave my head. Like I'm literally begging all of you out there, if you know how to get a song out of your head, please let me know.
the song's amazing. It's Celine Dion. She has the voice of an angel. It's like, come on.
It's
You,
bringing, it's brought nothing but tragedy to me ever since.
I don't know. I love that song. So,
Yeah, 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 Jack. Okay, yeah. That's what I call you now. You're Jack from the
okay.
Titanic. Um,
Oh,
isn't his
I would
name
just lay on my back and float. What the? Why didn't he just float? Lay on his back and float. What's wrong with people?
Jack? Um, yeah, it's nice to hear, but manifestationally, it's not good to have you in your head. It's just bringing about more circumstances where that would be the background music.
But
It's
it's a
not
good
fun.
song. Like, but the song, like, it's about like being in love and stuff.
It's
You
about
just add,
it's
if
about
you heard that song without knowing the movie, it would be an amazing, like, uplifting song.
that's because you don't listen to lyrics.
I don't. I
She's
really
talking
don't.
about how it's over and her heart needs to go on. It's the death of something.
I thought it was my heart can go on. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I was about to start.
Will go on. Will go on.
uh yeah, no, I don't know. The great movie. Nah, actually no. Great song. The movie's okay. Why are we talking? All right. So
Well, what I did learn from all this, guys, is that I now definitely know how to not get in a submersible. I hope you guys have learned also how to not get in a submersible.
yeah, people, if you could avoid that, do that. Thank God I'm as big as I am, because I don't think it's possible for me to get into a submersible. I am a submersible.
I trip on the way to the car.
Yeah, no,
I,
you would be terrible.
I don't even have anymore because it turned into a damn submersible and broke down.
You see one fish, you're like, oh my God, I want to pet it. And it's like, no, don't.
Uh,
Meanwhile, I'm a bad person, which would be like, oh no, we're gonna run out of food. It's like, well, we have a couple sandwiches, but
this is why he helped me not have the Titanic song when he got back from errands, because he'd say things like that. And I was like, um, yeah, I mean, that was the micro machines of submersibles.
Well, no, it was pretty big, wasn't it? That was the issue. It was bigger than most would be. Most are usually 1 to 3 people. This was 5, so that played a huge part as to why it was an issue. It was too big inside. It was too much space for to,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, he was like, a rule breaker.
But that's I mean, that's my thoughts on this. I feel bad. It's terrible. Apparently that I didn't know that the weather and the waves there and that place, that part of the Atlantic is like insane as is. So, and I never knew that weather and all that stuff played a, I guess, sea currents, under sea currents, but like I never knew it was an issue for submarines because you're going underneath. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I guess
we've all learned a lot in this. Mainly not to get in a submersible.
people avoid that.
All right. Yeah. Um, we will do our best, guys, avoiding getting into submersibles. We wish you guys the best at avoiding getting into submersibles. Do you have anything more to add?
Yeah, don't get into submersibles.
We will also try to not get into submersibles.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, my heart goes out to their families. I hope that, they know that there are no goodbyes. We are all one. And, we're all together in the end. We're all just walking each other home. And every day we're one day closer to them. Um, and yeah, and until then, guys, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next video. Like to support so I can keep putting out content for you. Subscribe to join the family. I guess I mentioned that already. PTSD, sorry. Share would actually help the survival of our channel. To help
That
us
your
stay
heart would
afloat.
go on. Sorry to cut you off. When you said your heart will, like, would you say it would go on?
Um, I hope not. I hope I hope this song can get out of my head soon. In fact, I am reaching out to those with a full heart to freaking help me with this because I'm serious. It's been ongoing every second of every day ever since. And my problem is so minuscule compared to their family. So, hearts go out to them. But if anybody happens to be skilled at getting a song out of someone's head, please let me know. This has been detrimental to my life. I no longer have a car. I can't get in elevators. Tommy doesn't know what's wrong with me. Um, Sharing is phenomenal for the survival of this channel. And donation link in the description box. If anybody does that, if they get anything out of this at all, that would be amazing. And my heart totally, totally appreciates that. And helping our channel stay afloat is a great thing. And until then, namaste, guys. Namaste.
Okay.